Hey, welcome to this episode. We're here with Joel Salvino. Joel is my friend. He lives in Boise right now. We met each other on the Idaho Centennial Trail, and we are the only two people that thru-hiked the Idaho Centennial Trail in 2018. And Joel not only did the Idaho Centennial Trail, but he did the Wild West Trail, which starts all the way in Jarbidge, Nevada, and ends in Teton Pass. It's more than 2,000 miles long, stretches across wild wilderness, places that aren't maintained with the trail. I mean, it's an incredible trail, and he has a website, YouTube channel, Instagram, like all the social media stuff, so you guys can check out what he's doing. But welcome, Joel.
Thanks for having me, Dan. Super excited to be up here in Donnelly.
For sure, yeah, we're in Donnelly. It's been snowing like crazy.
Oh, over 50 inches over the past 7 days.
It's nuts, and it's nuts. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about the Idaho Centennial Trail because there's so many people interested in this trail. They have no idea. The website that was up is down right now.
It's down right now.
But
my website has information on it.
Yeah, there's limited information on it, so we wanted to talk about the Idaho Centennial Trail with each section in mind, so that if people are interested, they can use this as a resource.
Right.
So let's start with it. So Joel, you started before the Idaho Centennial Trail, but let's begin when you get to the Nevada-Idaho border.
Right. Well, I would recommend everyone start in Jarbidge, Nevada. It only has about 27 miles to the hike. There's actually a town there. If you want to start on the border of Nevada and Idaho, there's nothing there. There's a marker, like a border marker, that orange pole that says NVID.
Right.
So yeah, you start in the Owyhee Desert, and we actually went out a couple weeks ahead of time. Yeah, we cached water every 15 miles.
So one thing about the Owyhee Desert is it can get extremely hot. We did it in the end of May, and so it was actually pretty cool.
It rained on me every day.
Rained on me every day as well, but water was still essential.
Mm-hmm.
And so where did we cache water?
I cached it on the border.
Right.
And then 15 miles north of that. And then I think one more 15 miles north of that. And then winter camp has water 100% all year long. I was just in winter camp actually 2 weeks ago, and there's still water flowing. So definitely all year. And then we cached water at the Bruno Canyon Overlook.
That's right.
And then from there, you can make it to the road to the Snake River.
What was if you were to describe the Owyhee Desert, how would you describe it?
It's flat.
Flat.
It's really flat. The canyons are incredible, but you're not really seeing the canyons too much. It's just sage. A lot of Jeep trails. So although there's some Jeep trails, and then sometimes you're just bushwhacking through the sage. And so my hiking partner at the time, Carmen, we were doing this thing where we put our trekking poles ahead of us because there are rattlesnakes.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Huh?
We didn't want to get bit. We almost stepped on one, so we saw one rattlesnake.
I didn't even see one rattlesnake the whole time I was there.
Yeah, they're out there.
Another thing that I thought there was cows, tons of cows, and some of the males can get aggressive. Then there was those cattle guards, cattle gates.
Gotta close them.
And I found a method to close them that I put my shoulder underneath the bar, and I was able to lift them up.
That was smart.
I put my shoulder on the bar and kind of hugged the other one, and then that was how I got it.
Right, because they're cable, they're wires.
Yep.
And so and some of them are barbed wire, so you have to pull it taut.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's really hard to get them closed again.
Totally.
Especially after hiking all day.
So I've heard horror stories about this part. If you do it after we did it, so if you do it in June or even in July, be prepared for high temperatures.
Like hundos.
Yes.
Yeah.
And talking about, you can get heat exhaustion. You can get.
There's no shade. There's no tree. There's nothing out there. There's absolutely nothing.
There's absolutely nothing.
I didn't see a person for 7 days.
That's true.
There's roads. Because nothing grows. So a car could have been there 20 years ago.
I would say one thing you could do is bring a satellite device that has text messaging in case you're in an emergency. So that's
no service.
There is no service, but if you have the Garmin InReach, this device, you can text.
Right.
Anyway, okay, so you're done with the Jarbidge. I know you're done with the Waikiki Desert, and then the next section of it is the Sawtooths. So Joel, when we did the Sawtooths,
we met. That's where we met.
So what highway was that? I forgot what highway.
It's like the interstate we crossed, right?
It wasn't the interstate. It was some highway right before Hunter Transfer Camp. We were probably 30 miles before.
On the Boise River right there.
Yes. Close to the Boise River. No.
It's on the Boise River.
No, because the Boise River is...
we crossed
that's
the bridge.
right by Featherville.
Yeah, that's Featherville.
So we met each other right after the foothills.
Right, because I went to Fairfield.
Yes.
Yeah, what is that, 22?
22 what?
Highway 22?
I think it might be Highway 20 or something like 20? That. Yeah.
It attaches Sun Valley to Boise.
Yep.
The great town Fairfield, best fish in the whole state. They actually get flown in from Alaska. It's one of the bars. Couldn't tell you which bar. There's only like 3 or 4 of them. So whichever bar sells fish.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, so when you start the Sawtooths, what we experienced was a lot of snow.
Tons of snow. And they'll experience snow even in July.
The thing is, this season has been pretty big. So if you're doing it in 2019, you're going to see a lot of snow, and the rivers are going to be high. So I don't even know, when would the best time to be?
The best time to do the Sawtooths would be August.
That's
but
true.
You won't finish the ICT, so you gotta deal with the snow.
So what would be the ideal time to start, you think?
I think what we did, maybe even June 1st, I would say. Because you don't want to go much later, or else the fire season will stop you from hiking it.
People are talking about mid-June, even maybe July. Do you think that's too late?
I think July is too late because of the fires. I think you will not be able to have a good Thru-Hike. You'll have to get off certain sections, especially in the wilderness areas. They're so big, they just let them burn.
Right.
I would say I would err on the side of snow rather than fire.
So this year, after we were completed with the hike, there were some fires. Were there fires on the trail?
Yeah. In the Frank.
In the Frank.
And the Selway. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so chances are you will encounter a fire if you don't leave when we left, or maybe June 1st or something like that.
Yeah, like even mid-June, it's just, if you're a good hiker, it's going to take you about 50 days, and that's pretty fast. Like we did in like 52, 55-ish.
Yes. 52 days for me, and then 50 days.
50 for me.
Yeah.
So...
All right, let's talk about the Sawtooths. And
so we're getting ahead of ourselves.
So how would a hiker, manage the river crossings? Well, I feel like the snow, you just have to go.
You need crampons deep for the snow. You're going to slip. You need crampons.
I didn't have any crampons and I was fine.
Really?
You didn't have any crampons? Didn't even have anything. I know. I had my shoes. They were fine.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay. So,
I had to whip it just in case.
Well, you need definitely aluminum trekking poles. Did you have trekking poles?
I had trekking poles.
Yeah, definitely want the trekking poles. With the snow catches, if you can. I mean, my snow catches fell off, but it'd be nice. It would have been nice.
Let's talk about the big river crossings there. So there's hundreds of streams that we had to cross. And
that are rivers this time of year.
They're rivers this time of year. The main ones that I had a challenge with were the South Fork of the Payette. When that one, you crossed it right on the trail, I went to that.
Right. You're crossing it like Bear Grylls.
I crossed it like Bear Grylls. Talk about the strategy of you crossing it with Carmen, like just you alone. Didn't you kind of just run across it and bounce and go with the current a little bit?
So the trick to river crossings is that you want to find the widest part of the river because that's where the water slows down. So you want the widest part of the river and you want nothing downstream of you for hopefully 100 yards if you can find it. So nice wide place. So if you do get carried in the current, there's no reason to panic. Because there's nothing downstream, and you can just swim parallel to shore, just like a rip tide in the ocean. So when I cross rivers, I expect to be carried down a few feet to maybe even a few hundred feet, depending how fast the current is.
Let's talk about like when you are crossing. Are you bouncing? Or are you actually swimming? What is the? What's happening?
Keep your feet. Stand upright. Keep your feet going. Unbuckle your pack in case that happens, and try to walk straight. And don't panic when the current starts to take you the other way. Always be making a direction towards the other shoreline.
Okay.
Even if you're getting washed downstream, as long as you're making forward progress, no reason to panic. You'll make it.
All right, let's talk about some. So the South Fork Payette, you were able to cross at the
trail.
At the trail.
Yeah.
There were many places that were they were streams, tributaries, whatever they were, but they were almost more powerful than that part of the trail.
Yeah, that was pretty easy crossing.
So what happens if, like, what advice would you give someone if they are not like as hardcore as you were? Or
I would go with a buddy.
You'd go with a buddy.
Go with a buddy. I had a buddy that couldn't do the stream crossing, and so I had paracord. I actually ended up throwing it across. Use a stick, not a rock, because rocks sink. We learned that the first throw. We're like, whoops, we should use something that floats. So I throw the stick over, and then he tied it up just around his waist, and then I made a pulley system. So like if the rope is attached to me, there's no way I'm able to pull him across if he falls. But because the rope is around a tree, I'm able to kind of pull like a pulley.
Yeah.
And so he did fall a couple of times, but I was able to keep that rope taut, and keeping the rope taut kept him from getting washed out.
Right.
And he was able to keep his footing the whole time, get across.
The only thing that makes me nervous is we talk about the sawtooths especially doing it this time of year. It can be extremely dangerous, and we're giving you this advice for how to cross rivers.
You shouldn't do it.
I don't think you should do it. I don't think you should take the advice. We're not responsible if you fall in the river, and it is kind of scary actually to give people advice about the Idaho Centennial Trail because it can be potentially really dangerous. Let's talk about, so the sawtooths were nothing but wet, cold, snowy, cold, and it rains. The river
crossings were just brutal.
Yeah, the river crossings were brutal.
We got lucky. We found a lot of deadfall over the rivers, so we're able to make our own bridges, kind of, for most of them.
Right. Okay, so when you get done with the sawtooths, you get to a place called Grand Jean.
Well, you're not done, but...
You're not done, technically.
But there's only one little pass after that.
One little pass. Don't worry about that pass. I felt like it was pretty mild.
Yeah, the snow it's south-facing, so the snow melts pretty quick.
Right.
We didn't even see any snow.
All right, so next section is the Frank Church.
Right.
All right, so when we got done with the sawtooths, I think we felt really accomplished. We thought it was the crux of the trail.
We thought it was the hardest section.
We did. We were celebrating because you get to Grand Jean. There's a heated pool there if you want to go.
Hot spring water. It's nice.
It's just it's cool. It actually, the hotel costs a lot of money. I forked down the money for the hotel, and it costs a lot. You guys slept outside.
Yeah, we slept outside.
I slept in beds. Anyway. We think it was the crux, and then you enter the Frank Church. Let's talk about the Frank Church. I'm curious about what were the wildest parts for you in the Frank Church. Right. But let's start from the beginning. You get
the Frank Church is 3 million square acres of roadless area. With topography, probably the most extreme topography on the planet.
And so the Idaho Centennial Trail is just capturing like a splinter of it.
We go through the heart of it.
But I said there's a vast amount.
There's a lot of it that we don't see. Yeah.
So you get to Stanley Lake, right?
Yeah, Stanley Lake.
And then you have to basically do some road walking.
A little bit of road walking
mixed in with some Forest Service roads, all the way. Was it Lolo Campground? Was that what it's called?
That's farther north. What campground is that? It's by Elk Meadows, and then there's a road walk, and then you walk down a road, and then all of a sudden you're in the Frank.
Right, you get to a camp spot. I forgot what the camp spot was called.
But there's well water and a toilet and a dumpster.
There is.
So that is good.
That is. So when you get there, that's kind of the start of the Frank Church, right?
There's a sign that welcomes you. There's a little bridge over the river. The trails are great for about 100 yards.
The trails are great for about 100 yards. And if the river is big,
river ate it.
The river eats the trail for some time. But I would say it's kind of mild-ish. It's a mild trail where
especially up to the
sawtooths.
Yeah.
Right to when you get to Pistol Creek, right? Didn't you say like all the way from that campground to Pistol Creek it was okay?
I would say all the way to Campbell's Ferry. Well, no, because you gotta get up there.
You gotta get to Marble Creek. I would say so from that campground all the way to Marble Creek.
Yeah, all the way to Marble Creek.
I thought it was decent trail.
We're following the middle fork of the Salmon.
Exactly.
And there's rafters. There's trail magic. Right. There's hot springs.
There's no trail magic for me for some reason. I guess I don't know why, but there was absolutely no trail magic for me.
Me and Carmen got hooked up. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. I was alone.
Be nice to the rafters.
I was alone. I was pretty nice to the rafters. No trail magic. Anyway, so blowdowns, of course. The river eats the trail, of course. Depending on what time of year you're doing it, but decent trail all the way to
Marble Creek.
All right, let's talk about. Can people stash their food at Pistol Creek. I don't even know if we should talk about Pistol Creek.
Well, the first rule of Pistol Creek is to not talk about Pistol Creek. But listen, you can email us about it. We'll talk to you there. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Cool. Anyway, so after Pistol Creek, you get to a place called like the entrance of Marble Creek, right? Mm-hmm. Trail is pretty decent. Let's talk about...
There's a bridge.
Yeah, there's a bridge. Let's talk about Marble Creek.
Do we have to?
Marble Creek, I would say, is when the trail really starts getting heavy. When I say heavy, it's just unmaintained. And I can't describe to you what unmaintained looks like. You almost have to experience it for yourself. But before I did this trail and they talked about unmaintained trails, I thought, oh yeah, there's a few bushwhacks. It's much more hard than you think, and you kind of don't understand it until you're in the thick of things. So let's talk about Marble Creek. What was it like?
Well, we crossed the river 36 times.
36 times crossing the river.
It's a creek, but in this springtime it's a river. So
it's a river.
You're making pretty hardcore trail crossings back and forth. So these are exhausting. The water's ice cold.
Yes.
And then the only reason you're crossing the river is because the trail disappears.
Yes.
And it's so bushy, or there's cliffs, so it cliffs out.
Yes.
So the only way to keep going upstream is to walk in the river.
Yes.
And you do this all day.
But you can't walk upstream of the river, only in certain parts where it gets shallow. Yeah. Because other parts it's too raging.
Yeah, you don't have enough energy to walk against the current.
You don't have the water will wash you out.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to do it.
The bushes in Marble Creek, what I experienced was those thick river bushes.
Yeah, willows.
Were they willows? I thought they were just the thick... like almost bamboo. They almost look like bamboo.
Yeah.
Those were the type of bushes I was trying to get through, and extremely hard. I think I lost my sunglasses that were on my hat. I lost my water bottle.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. When you're crossing Marble Creek, I would say like get everything inside your pack so you don't lose anything. Mm-hmm. Yes, I had to cross the river 36 times as well.
Yep. I fell in, so we were trying to. Yeah, we were trying to stay out of the river. So I was kind of going on this boulder, and the boulder just fell into the river while I was on it.
Are you kidding?
No. Yeah. So I was with two other guys at the time, so they pulled me out. And then there's a lot of beaver dams, so sometimes you just fall into a beaver pond.
Yeah.
And the beavers will dam up these trips, so you'll fall in over your head.
Another thing too was. There was lots of death in Marble Creek. I saw countless amounts of wolf tracks, but bones, like carcasses of animal kills. I also saw a hawk actually attack a river bird. I saw it. I saw the whole thing. I saw the hawk kill the other bird. I witnessed it.
That sounds like Marble Creek.
It sounds like Marble Creek. All right, so once you're done with Marble Creek...
it opens up at the top.
It does open up at the top. I feel like there's
some trail maintenance up at the top.
And right after Marble Creek, there's kind of this, like, you go through Thunder Mountain.
Right, it's a mine.
I didn't go the same path as you guys went, and I think I added a lot of miles.
I think so.
I did.
This happens a lot on the ICT. You'll just add miles.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I don't think we don't have to talk too much about it, because there is kind of, you'll probably get lost, but bring your GPS and you'll find it's not too bad.
Right. If you use my GPX file, you won't get lost.
At this point, you're kind of used to bushwhacking after Marble Creek, so nothing is as bad as Marble Creek.
Yeah.
Yet.
So
you go through, and then I think I was solo for a long time, but then we met up again at Big Creek.
Yeah, we met at Big Creek, which is one of the steepest descents on the trail. The second steepest descent.
To
the salmon. The only reason I know that is because I was checking out. This map here. It has the elevation profile on it. But yeah, Big Creek's the second to the salmon.
All right, so Big Creek, you descend. It is a pretty big descent. The thing is about Big Creek, there are two. There's an alternate that you could take that goes to a bridge, and it's called Monumental Bridge or Monument Bridge.
But you missed the dopest ridgeline on the hike.
You do miss the dopest ridgeline on the hike.
360-degree views all day. Like I'm talking like 25 miles of just pristine wilderness, Frank Church views. We're watching thunderstorms, snowstorms over the mountains. Incredible. It's probably some of the best hiking in the whole world.
But so if you're going to go this route... you probably need to bring a friend at least to cross Big Creek.
Yeah.
So when we cross Big Creek, at this point, there is how many? 1, 2, 3. There's 4 of us, right?
There's 4 of us.
So there's 4 of us. I am behind Joel. Joel is with the 3 others, and
2 others. So 3, including me. Yeah.
Yeah. So they actually sent me a text through my device, and I was able to receive it. And they were waiting for me to, and then we were going to cross the river together. And we crossed the river. But Joel, explain what happened when we crossed that river. Explain, because you were there a day before, scouting out the best part. Because this river is pretty big. How wide do you think this river was?
Oh, wide. Probably at least as wide as a football field.
At least.
Yeah. Not lengthwise, like a width of a football field. Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, at least. Maybe a little bit wider. The water's going fast. Spring melts. And me and this other guy, Fibonacci, we're there, and we heard information that there was trails on both sides. So if you had to get to the bridge, there's no bridge trail on this side of Big Creek. If you're going from the south to the north, there's no trail. And so we ended up bushwhacking. We're gonna bushwhack down to this bridge because no way we're crossing this creek, and it cliffs out. It cliffs out, and the water gets really deep. So we walked in the river for a little bit. That didn't work. So we ended up bushwhacking back. That was a 3-mile bushwhack, so a 6-mile round trip. So we're sitting at the bottom, and we're bailing. We're going back up the ridge. We're gonna go back, add a whole nother day, go back to Monumental Creek.
Right.
And then we run into Carmen up there, and Carmen, I'm like, Carmen, we're going back. And Carmen's like, I'm not going back. I can't go back. So then we hit up Dan, and then I finally convinced, I'm the one. I'm like, we can cross this because there's this place in the river with 3 giant boulders that kind of stop the current.
I can see it.
So I can see it in my head. So from the shoreline, it's like, well, we get to that boulder, we take a breather. To that boulder, take a breather. Get to that, it's simple. The water doesn't look that deep. It's about nipple height, probably at the deepest. Mine, I'm 5'10", so
yeah.
And so all 4 of us are there, and then So with all 4 of us, Fibonacci's like, all right, we can do this, and then
we decided to Congo line it. So it was Fibonacci's idea to Congo line because he had seen that on the PCT or somewhere.
Yeah, it's a PCT strategy.
I've heard of Congo line before.
I never heard of it.
So we tried it. Joel was in front, I was in back, Fibonacci was second, Carmen was third.
I'm the only one with trekking poles.
Right? Yep. Yeah. Everybody else is kind of anchored. So being in back for me wasn't a struggle at all because I had 3 other people kind of just stabilizing me. Joel, on the other hand, had a much different story, right?
It was exhausting. It was the most exhausted I've ever been.
So why were you so exhausted? It was so exhausting.
I'm pulling 3 guys, 3 adult males.
You basically
and their
are.
pets.
Yeah. Yes.
It's all on me, and I must have fallen a dozen times before even getting to the first boulder.
Yes.
I get to the first boulder and I'm telling everyone, all right, guys, this isn't going to work. You guys got to get off. And everyone's looking at me like, we don't have trekking poles, dude. Like, we got to go.
Right.
And of course, downstream is a strainer, this big log. If we get washed under that.
It could have been a lot worse than what
it could have been really bad.
Okay, keep on going.
So it could have been really bad. So I'm looking back. I got 3 guys attached to me. So I'm like, okay, I don't have any energy left to take another breather at this boulder. I have to use everything I got to get across.
Oh my gosh.
So we start going, and I'm like, right, left, like a caterpillar.
Right.
And we start getting washed out.
Yes.
And so we start bouncing.
Running. I remember that. Like bouncing and running.
I'm still trying to make forward progress to the other side.
We're probably going at a 45 degree
angle. Yeah, we're going straight down the river.
Yeah.
But we missed the strainer by how much did you miss that log at the bottom there?
I don't remember. I didn't pay attention.
It was close, maybe a foot. So we get washed out. Dan, you got swung out to the other side real quick.
Yeah, I mean, so you guys let go, you and Fibonacci let go, and then I
didn't let go of anybody.
I still had a hold of Carmen, and Carmen was completely off his feet. I was still kind of on my feet, and so I was able to keep on running and then push Carmen to the side, and then those 2, I saw that they kind of, basically, you guys were going downstream.
Oh no, we swam. We tumbled over. Yeah. I remember tumbling over a rock, and Fibonacci's leg was underneath me, and I just remember like, don't break his leg. That was the only thing on my mind. So I tried to. And then we got washed over that, and the Fibonacci grabs me. Oh my
gosh.
And then he actually gets me to shore, and then my trekking poles and my water bottles both go downstream. So I end up having to jump headfirst into the river, and I had to make a choice, trekking poles or water bottles. I grabbed trekking poles, and then I got back on shore. And then I couldn't stand up.
I had no idea that happened to you.
Yeah.
So you
I kept going down.
You went back in the river?
I had to go back in because we're in the middle of the Frank Church Wilderness. I need my trek, and they hold up my tent.
All right, let's talk about this too. So you're in the middle of the Frank Church Wilderness.
37 miles to the closest dirt road, which isn't even open probably this time of year.
And when you say dirt road, no one is at that dirt road.
It's Jeep trail at the best.
So when you do trails like John Muir Trail, for example, maybe even the PCT, right?
Oh yeah,
the whole PCT.
The whole PCT.
I don't know if there is there might be a spot. Is there a spot you think on those trails where it is as remote as the Frank Church Wilderness?
No way. Nope. Even if it's physically remote, there's people there, so it's not that remote.
Yeah. You are we were the only ones. I mean, we didn't see people for days.
Days.
Right. All right, so we're done with Big Creek. I was celebrating. Obviously, my experience wasn't as bad as yours.
I couldn't lift myself out of the river. I was so tired. I've never been that tired before in my entire life. Half my body, this ice cold water. I just got my torso like hugging a bush. It's full of thorns, and I remember pulling thorns out of me at that night.
But you did manage to fish that same day. That night, you tried to. I had
to go fishing.
You didn't catch anything though, right?
I didn't catch anything. I saw an otter. That was cool.
All right, so we're done with that, and then I would say, pretty much. No one's crazy hurt. We're banged up, but no one's crazy hurt.
Yeah.
And then we have to go. I think our next stop is Campbell's Ferry.
Mm-hmm. We go up to Chamberlain Basin, so we got to go back up in elevation. Yeah.
And at that point, you're going through a lot of burnt down areas. Mm-hmm. So we saw tons of morels.
About a million
morels.
Billion, maybe. As far as the eye can see.
I would say the burn areas, because of all the moisture and the rain, you can sink deep in that ash.
It's like snow.
Ash, mud, snow.
It's gross.
And then we get to a high point. I forgot what ridge it was. Mm-hmm. But it was right before Chamberlain Basin.
Right before Chamberlain Basin.
It snowed on us.
It snowed a lot.
I would say probably like 6 inches.
This
maybe.
Is June.
I don't think it was 6 inches, but it was getting towards the 6 inch mark, I would say.
But it kept snowing the whole next day. So right. 6 inches total. And
then, so you passed. So we really didn't even look at Chamberlain that much. We
couldn't see it. It was snowing.
It was snowing, but then I remember we crossed the river right by Chamberlain Basin, and then we just cold. And mind you, I don't even know if we're on a trail because
we're going through this marsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at our maps. There's no trail. Let's just go straight.
And the thing is, there maybe was a trail, but we didn't know where it was.
It's covered in snow and burn.
That's the whole story of the ICT is you don't know if there's a trail, and you don't kind of want to say, oh, there was no trail, but for you, there really was no trail.
Yeah.
So we get pretty far. I think
to the salmon.
So that day
we did 30 miles.
That day, because it was snowing, we were so sick of hiking that we said we've got to get to Campbell's Ferry tonight, and that was 30 miles away.
And so we're at about 7,000 feet elevation. Campbell's Ferry's at 2,000, so it's lower in elevation than Boise is. So we know it's going to be warm there.
I remember that day we just said, we made up our minds we're going to get there. We're going to get to Campbell's Ferry. But it was a legit 30 miles away, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, almost exactly. Yeah.
Almost exactly. Yeah. I think it was like 0.2 miles shy or something like that.
Yeah. And the only reason was because we cut the switchbacks a little bit. Okay. That's why it was shy of 30.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was too bad. There was some good trail. Basically the whole, after Chamberlain Basin, didn't you think there was...
because there's a trail from Chamberlain Basin to the salmon, because there's an airfield up there.
Gotcha.
So guys will fly in and hike down, and there's some elk hunting camps up there.
Gotcha.
So by the time you get to Chamberlain, they start to see trails again.
All right, so you get to Campbell's Ferry, you meet Doug and Phyllis Timms. They're really nice people.
Oh, the best.
And also you can resupply there.
Patron saints.
Resupply there with Arnold Aviation. Your food gets there every single Wednesday. No problem. So
resupply there. Definitely.
That's the best resupply point. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, you get there and you think, oh, maybe we can get like a burger or something like that. You're still in the middle of the wilderness.
Yeah. Like there's nothing there.
You are probably 120 miles away from Highway 12.
Yeah, 120 miles on a plane. Yeah. And then, of course, there are jet boats that go up the river. So that is a escape route right there. There's planes and jet boats right there.
Right. Okay, so from that point on, you still have to go. You went up to Rattlesnake Ridge. Talk about Rattlesnake Ridge.
Right, so you follow the middle fork of the salmon again. You're back on it for about half a day. And then
you're not back on it. I mean, because you're at the main fork of the salmon.
We're at the main fork now. Yeah. So we follow for a little bit, and then there's a Rattlesnake Creek that comes out, make camp, and then to go up Rattlesnake Ridge. It is the steepest and the most extreme incline. It's not the high point of the trail, but I think elevation gain is the most. It's like 4,000 or 5,000 feet elevation gain. It's deeper than the Grand Canyon that you're getting out of. And so you climb up, and then there's an old ranch that's been abandoned, and the whole thing is overgrown, and then the trail just disappears. I mean, disappears, and you still got about 2,000 feet to climb.
Right.
And so all these bushes, everything's just overgrown, and you know where you need to go. You need to go up.
Right.
So I'm pushing my way through bushes, and I'm going up a mountain, and I said a lot of words there that cannot be repeated, but I just pure anger just got me up that mountain. And by the time I get up there's a lookout tower. I think it's called Sheep Eater Lookout Tower, Sheep Hill Lookout.
Okay, yeah.
And you can see the Magruder Corridor, which is the Magruder Corridor is a 6-foot wide Jeep trail. They call it a road that separates the Selway and the Frank.
Right.
And there's snow. It's not open. There's too much snow on it at this time. So I can see it in the distance. So I'm on top of the ridge now, but the ridge, you got about 10 feet of snow. There's snow drifts. And I'm post-holing, and then I have to post-hole probably about 13 miles. On that whole day, I think I hiked 15 miles total, and it took me about 13 hours to do it.
Oh my gosh, crazy!
And you can't stop because I did not want to sleep on the snow. Yeah, did not want to sleep there.
I gotta go pee so bad.
Yeah. Oh, let's pause this.
All right. So. You went the Rattlesnake. I went an alternate. The reason why I went to the alternate, I was actually glad to go to the alternate because I think at this point, bushwhacking, it's cool, but you're okay avoiding it if there's an alternate. So
let's preface, the alternates on the ICT are not. It's not as if they're easier. It's just a different challenge. It's not like an alternate is taking you into a town, or like taking you to a resupply point. It's just, do you want to bushwhack a creek, or do you want to climb rattlesnake? It's the same. It's two sides of the same coin. Yeah.
And I would say, like, the real question is, what is the ICT? I would say there's so many trails that have been abandoned that the real route is kind of not completely open, or it's not completely official because there have been abandoned trails that are still on the map.
The nice part about the ICT is that if you're hiking it, you are the ICT.
You are the ICT. Mm-hmm. So I went through Bargaman Creek, which is just right before Rattlesnake, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. I would say there was some overgrown trail, of course. There was blowdowns, of course, but all in all, it was fairly easy. I could have gotten all the way to Poet Creek in one day from Campbell's Ferry, but no, that would have been a stretch, I would say, to get all the way to Poet Creek. But I could cover some distance really, really fast. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at that point too, what's funny is I saw Carmen. Yeah. So Carmen, we had split up at this point because when we got to Campbell's Ferry, I actually hitched a plane. I hitched a plane back to McCall to see my wife. And so I spent 2 days in McCall and then flew back to Campbell's Ferry to start the trail where I left off. And I saw Carmen. Carmen had hitched a ride from Chamberlain Basin to Campbell's Ferry.
Yeah, the Idaho Centennial Trail is the only place, probably the only hike in the country, maybe the hike in the world that you can air blaze or sky blaze.
You can sky blaze.
Sky blaze.
Yeah, it's true.
We had to invent a term for it. Yeah, hitchhiking on an airplane.
Anyway, so I meet up with Carmen right before Bargaman, and I was looking at his situation. He was hurting. His ankle was really bad. So we had a discussion together, and we decided, hey, we're gonna do Bargaman, and I think that was a good call for us. Mm-hmm. So you get to Poet Creek, and that is kind of where I would say the beginnings of we're not in the Selway Wilderness yet, but that's kind of where I feel like it kind of begins.
That's where it begins. You're on the western edge of the wilderness, so there's some roads and stuff. Yeah.
So let's talk about so when you get to Poet Creek Campground, I think there is a good trail pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Once you get through that swamp,
We didn't have to go through the swamp. We missed. Yeah, I went through the swamp too.
I went through the swamp. Yeah,
I went through the swamp. This is the thing about the trail is you don't know sometimes where the trail is because these trails are unmaintained. So a lot of times you lose it. You're going through swamps, whatever. I don't really remember too much, but you do end up hitting an outfitter's place. I don't know what the outfitter's called.
Oh yeah, but they're nice.
And then after the outfitters, you go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And that day was probably one of the hardest days for me, actually.
It's the hardest. I think for me too. I remember every second of that day, unfortunately. You leave the outfitters camp, right? And when you're getting towards the outfitters camp, all these trails are maintained. Oh, this is great. These trails are maintained. Yeah. It's not the feds doing it. It's the outfitters doing it.
Right.
Right. Because the feds don't go out there because, as they say, not enough people hike the trail.
Yes.
Right. So what are we paying them for?
I don't know. We don't have enough funding. We don't have enough money.
Yeah, but they have enough money to paint their buildings all day.
They paint their buildings and
mow the runways.
What else do? They hang out.
They hang out. They're chilling.
They just have fun. They're hiking. They're hiking their trails.
Anyway, we're not bitter or sore about it. Yeah.
No. We just our federal money. Our tax money.
30% of everything I earn.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
It's great. It's great. So the Selway Bitterroot is the worst part of the whole hike.
I would say that was the crux of the hike. And it's not... I think because, one, you hit Campbell's Ferry and you just went through very hard terrain.
Right. You just did pretty much the whole Frank and then all the Sawtooth and the Owyhee.
Right. But then now you have about 100 miles more until Highway 12, was it? I think it was.
Yeah, Wallace, Idaho.
No. Highway 12 with Kooskia or Missoula.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
so you have about 100 more miles until you get to your next rest area. So it's just a long time in isolated wilderness.
Mm-hmm. It's a long time to be out there.
Let's talk about the Selway. So one of the main things that I hear you talk about is the prairie.
Long prairie.
Long prairie.
On the map, it's 2 miles. The topo lines are flat. It looks like a walk in the park. It's named Long Prairie.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a walk in the park.
No, right? It's probably the worst part of the entire Idaho Centennial Trail. There's blowdowns for the whole time. Just the whole. There's no trail.
There's no trail. You can't find a trail.
No, it doesn't exist. There's a river, so you know where to follow because you're following the river.
It's true. Yep.
Yeah.
There's so many blowdowns because of...
There was a fire.
20
years ago.
There's no trail. You can't find a trail. You cannot find a trail. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Even before I got to Long Prairie, there were sections... I followed the map, and it was completely gone. It was not on a trail. The map was completely wrong.
So you get pretty used to bushwhacking. I would say in the Frank throughout basically the Panhandle, you're probably bushwhacking 60% of your day.
Yes.
Sometimes. Yeah.
I'd say that for sure.
But you usually find the trail in the morning and at night. For whatever reason, it worked out like that, except for this section.
I did, I did not find the trail at night on this section, unfortunately.
Nope.
So after Long Prairie, you get to
Beaver Dams.
You get to Moose Ridge.
You get to Moose Ridge.
So Moose Ridge, and then you see Bitch Lake.
Bitch Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably the only lake I know that's like named like that. Bitch Lake. That is how gnarly this place is.
We're going there this summer. That's another hike because the trail you're above it. There's cliffs on 3 sides of the lake. So I don't know if anyone's been there in years. I don't know when the last person was there.
So you travel Moose Ridge for quite a long time.
No, it's actually there is some trail up top.
There is,
but the burns. Yeah, there's bushwhacking.
There's a lot of burn areas, and then there's snow when we were there. So, for me, that was the coldest day that I had on the trail because Moose Ridge you're probably at 7,000 in the 7,000s. And so it was kind of a mix of snow and rain for me the whole entire day. The whole time I was in the Selway, it just rained constantly. It did not dry up except at night because I had my clothes, my dry clothes to sleep in. But I remember the cold was so cold that the chill was starting on my hands, and then it would just go, and it started entering my chest. And then I started running. That day, I actually ran most of the day because I was so cold. But then I would see snow patches and I couldn't run.
You can't run. Yeah.
And then I would sometimes in the snow patches, I would see an opening of trees.
Yeah.
I think because maybe the old like CCC or something like that made a trail. And
CCC.
It maybe was them, but I remember seeing clearings of trees. I couldn't see a trail.
Like old stumps that were obviously sawed but molded over.
Yeah.
I
saw a lot of old stumps. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so you go on Moose Ridge, and then you get to this point where you can see Moose Creek Ranger Station. There's an airfield right there. And
didn't she run into wildlife up there?
No, I didn't.
That's not where you saw the wolf?
No, I saw the wolf right before Poet Creek.
Oh, before Poet Creek.
Big, huge, humongous wolf.
Whoa.
It was big. It's huge.
What color was it?
It's gray. It was gray. It was big.
They're out there. There's a lot of wolves.
Anyway, but like you get to the airfield, Moose Creek Ranger Station, the airfield right there.
This is where I broke down.
It's a big X.
It's an X.
Big X.
They mow the grass.
They're
mowing the grass.
They're mowing the grass, and it looks beautiful.
I can't even see my feet, and they're mowing the grass. And
but the thing is, this is where I kind of want to discuss, because you went down that whole side of the mountain bushwhacking, right?
Yeah, I couldn't find the trail.
So I found the trail.
There's a trail.
There is a trail, and I found the trail.
God bless it.
You did. And I remember thinking, because I would have broken down too if I had to, and that would have been a really, really, really challenging day. But I remember thinking to myself, there's got to be a trail. I've got to be careful and find it. And I did find it. I'm so grateful.
There's a trail.
But you have to drop probably 3,000 feet.
Yeah.
And you dropped it all bushwhacking. And that is rainforest, basically.
Yeah.
You really didn't find any trail?
I found it towards the end, because I remember I found it right before the bridge. There's a bridge across the river.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even think there was going to be a bridge. I'm looking down. What? That's the Selway River, right?
Whoa.
And I'm like, I'm going to have to ford the Selway? This is insane.
Insane. You couldn't do it.
And there's like a really nice bridge there, and there's some kayakers, so it was nice. And I remember the kayakers like, hey, man. I was like, hey, how's it going? How's the kayaking? Like, it's fun. They're like, did you hike here? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, is it fun? I'm like, no. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm like, stay in the kayak. Fun. Yeah.
I remember getting to the airfield, and I was so cold, but warmer at this point, because you drop down to basically 2,000 feet, I think.
Right. It's crazy how the elevation changes, especially early in the season.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit warmer, and I'm so grateful that I'm in warmer ground. And I get to this airfield, and I basically bushwhacked to the airfield, because I didn't trust any trails at this point. But I knew the airfield was right there, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm just gonna bushwhack to it. I remember getting up there, and I'm walking to bushes that are probably chest high, and I see it wasn't a family, but it was a group of men, and there was
probably flew in there.
Teenage kid, two men, teenage kid, and they flew in there with their airplane, and they had a fire, and I remember just walking straight to the fire, and the look on the kid's face when he saw me was like, what is happening? Who is this guy?
I didn't know you did that. It's so funny.
So I walk.
Just come out of the wilderness.
Basically I'm coming out of the bushes, and I can tell this kid is thinking, this has never happened to me. I've never experienced being out here and see some wild human being come out of this. But I walked to their fire, and I'm so cold, and I asked them, I said, can I warm up by your fire? And they let me.
Good.
And they gave me some food. It wasn't the royal treatment, but it was a good treatment. And then after that, I didn't want to hang out all day with them, so I went to Moose Creek Ranger Station and set up camp. The sun shined. It was really nice.
It's a beautiful little spot.
But you were able to you were able to meet the people, not the homesteaders there, but they kind of...
They're volunteers.
Volunteers, yeah.
And so when I was there, all the rangers were out, in their words, doing trail maintenance.
It wasn't rangers, it was the AmeriCorps.
Was it AmeriCorps?
Yeah, it was the interns. I don't think the Rangers were there.
Rangers weren't there, but they were the volunteers that were staying there.
Mm-hmm.
And when they saw me, it was actually kind of odd, because they were super nice people. They actually ended up giving me a loaf of bread, which was amazing. Awesome. Yeah, I ate a whole loaf of sourdough bread. It was amazing. It's probably the only reason I didn't quit right there.
Really?
Because of the
didn't quit.
Dude,
didn't quit.
Well, maybe I wanted to quit, but it was like I needed this bread. I needed this bread.
So, because when I went there, they didn't express any hospitality to me.
Well, here's the thing. So at first they were very standoffish, right? And there's a well in the middle of this little yard they have.
Yes.
And I sprawled out spread eagle right by the well, and I wasn't asleep because I couldn't sleep, but I was just laying there, and I was there for about 2 hours, just laying like that. Like, I'm not even joking. I was just there. I filled up my water bottles, drinking. Because, like, if you don't have to filter your water, it's just like, oh, this is so nice.
Right.
And they finally come out. They're like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, oh, I'm just hiking ICT and, you know. And, I'm running out of food because I'm a day behind schedule. And you can only carry so much food.
Right.
So I get to talking to them. I'm like, oh, I'm just really hungry. And I'm rationing right now. So I'm taking a break. There's no trails. I kept on saying that. I was like a crazy person. Like, there's no trails.
Oh, my gosh.
So they end up coming out, like the little lady. She's like, hey, don't tell anyone. I'm telling the whole world now, don't tell anyone. Because I guess a hiker came there a couple of years ago, they were saying, and the rangers were there. And the rangers were very inhospitable toward him. And they ended up giving him some moldy blanket and letting him sleep on their back porch that night. And the lady was telling me, listen, the rangers aren't here right now, but here, have this loaf of bread. And here you go.
It's interesting because Carmen talked about when he went to Chamberlain.
Yeah.
He was talking to a girl. She wasn't, I don't think she was a ranger, but she was basically...
She was dating a ranger.
She was dating a ranger, and she was saying that her boyfriend was exactly like that, very strict.
Very strict, no help towards these
guys.
No help. Yeah. But it's like, we wouldn't...
Which is odd because we pay their salaries.
Right. It's also odd because, the only reason we need help is because you guys aren't doing your job and clearing the trails.
True. Another point, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound so entitled, but it's, I guess we are paying for the services in our tax money. We should get some benefit.
And also, it's not your forest; it's our forest. It's the Forest Service and the Frank is very strange. The Frank and the Selway, they view it as if it's their own private land, and there's definitely a mentality with them. And I'm not saying all of them are like that, but I think it's a top down. I think it comes from the top down, from DC specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't run into any forest rangers at all.
No. I never ran into
I didn't run into
that was the closest run-in I had. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so when you get to their from Moose Creek Ranger Station, if you follow the ICT, which we did not, we actually took alternate to Fish Lake. Both of us, right?
Was that an alternate? No, we took an alternate down from Fish Lake.
No, it is the alternate, I think. We took... Yeah, it is the alternate because Marsha Power, she actually is one of the only ones. They're probably the older people that did it too prior to us. They did. Marsha Power said that was the hardest bushwhack.
Really?
She said it was the hardest bushwhack she's ever done in her life.
Wow.
And she's hiked the whole United States.
Yeah.
From coast to coast. She's hiked a lot. Anyway, we go to Fish Lake, and I thought it wasn't too bad for us.
It was really icy. I remember it was slippery. It was raining for me. It was really steep. I just remember kind of skiing down that hill, down to the Fish Lake.
Well, do you remember? Yes. Do you remember the river? I don't know what river it was, going to Wounded Doe. And having it it was overgrown. You couldn't see the trail completely, but it was there.
That's when we walked through the old growth cedar grove, right? Do you remember this? It was right after Moose Creek Ranger Station.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah. There's a grove of 500 to 1,000-year-old cedar trees there that have never been touched with logging or fire. They're one of the most beautiful places in the whole state. Yeah,
very beautiful.
It's quiet. I mean, I remember walking through. You couldn't hear anything. There were butterflies flying around.
Right.
The rain didn't even reach the ground. It was really nice.
I remember though, after the cedar trees, I think you go, you take a creek to Wounded Doe.
Right. I remember Wounded Doe.
I remember that trail was overgrown in a lot of spots, but there wasn't too many blowdowns, and so I think I heard too that they cleared that. Where actually, don't quote me on it, but I heard that. Horses can go on it, so it was an open trail. They do clear it, but we went all the way to Fish Lake because we were with the snow. Yeah, we weren't able to find the trail at a lot of points.
That's not true.
But when you get past that, we did take. I don't remember the number of the trail, but there is a
Boulder Creek. We took down.
Is Boulder Creek?
It's Boulder Creek down. So
yes, it was Boulder Creek.
There's two alternates there. You can take Boulder Creek down, which doesn't take off miles, but it goes straight down. Or you stay on the ridge line, and there's actually a couple high alpine lakes right there. But it was raining. There's a lot of snow.
Right.
And I know I made the call. I was like, well, I didn't have crampons. Am I just gonna freeze up here? And because I have a fishing pole. I'm trying to hit every alpine lake I can, but if you can't fish yet, it's too cold still. So Anyway, I took Boulder Creek. No.
I took Boulder Creek as well. It was a well-maintained trail.
I ran into the trail crew. They just maintained it the day of.
Were they SBFC crew or whatever?
They were SBFC.
Yeah, they were.
Nonprofits, not federal. Let the records show. But
nonprofits do get their federal grant money.
They do get their federal grant money, sure. Sure.
Anyway, so...
There's a theme here, yeah.
There's a theme here, getting rich off the wilderness. But, so then you get to Highway 12, which is Wilderness Gateway. And Wilderness Gateway, in my experience, was not that glorious at all. It's a very skinny road, and...
It's paved.
It is paved. But it's Idaho County. Idaho County is probably the most lawless county in Idaho. There's no building codes. I think it's a really cool place, actually.
Beautiful.
It's great. It's
just Pacific Northwest up there, too.
It is.
At the road, it changes. It's crazy. It changes right there.
So you're there at Highway 12. I hitchhiked to Kooskia. You hitchhiked to Missoula.
2-hour drive to Missoula. Next town over.
2-hour drive for me was about an hour and a half drive to Kooskia. I remember when I was done with my rest days, hitchhiking back, it probably took me 3 to 4 hours to get back.
Yeah, it took me longer to get back than to get a hitch to Missoula.
Yes. Yeah. How long did it take you to get a hitch? Because there's not too many cars that went my way.
It took me about that long. A lot of cars passed me. I got 3. It took me 3 car rides to get out there.
It did?
Yeah, it took me 3 car rides.
I remember one girl, she was so nice, but she took me from Kooskia to Kooskia. Basically, there's 2 exits for Kooskia, and she took me from one exit to the other. And I actually ended up walking back because I thought it was a better spot to hitchhike.
Yeah. That sucks.
But then there was a point when it was so long that I thought, you know what, I guess I'm going to have to walk to Wilderness Gateway. It's not going to work out to hitchhike. And so I started walking, and I had full plans to take 2 extra days to get to Wilderness Gateway.
Yeah.
And I finally got a ride.
That's good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. You get a ride there.
Anyway, I would say, if I were to do that part again, if I can get a ride, that would probably save me a lot of time and energy.
Definitely go to Missoula, though. It's a bigger town.
You like Missoula?
Yeah, it was nice. I took a 0, man. I was so cold. I bought a 4-season sleeping pad and a down jacket. Yeah. I was so cold. This whole trail, I got rid of, I had one of those styrofoam pads.
Yeah.
Chuck that. It's garbage. I can't believe they even sell that. It's trash.
Dude, I stayed in Idaho and got the true Kooskia experience.
Yeah.
It's a town not too big.
It's a very small town.
Very small town. So anyway, you get so now going from Wilderness Gateway, this is it's called the State Line Trail section.
It's the longest section without resupply.
Right, 148 miles.
167.
167. Okay.
Yep.
A lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, I just measured. It was longer than I thought. I was like, oh, well, that was a long time.
Wow. So, okay. This section, I had trail until Kelly Lookout, I would say. Mm-hmm. And then Kelly Lookout, I think it was Kelly Lookout. That's where you had your bear encounter.
Yeah, right after that lookout.
After the lookout. Mm-hmm. That was a bushwhack right after the lookout for me.
Yeah, it was a bushwhack for me too. I was in a bad mood. There was a lot of ash. So it was the bad ash. I was slipping. I remember going up to my knee in ash mud.
Right, okay.
And then you try to step over these logs, and so you're not making any progress. Hours are just dragging by, and I'm just So I get into these heated rages. If you ever hike with me, I can't believe people don't want to hike with me. It's crazy.
You've told me that no one's ever hiked with you.
No one's ever hiked with me again.
Again.
Yeah.
I'm trying to break that record, but I still haven't, so who knows?
So I'm like the angriest animal in the woods at this point, and I'm coming down, and I see this black bear, and the black bear is looking at me already, so he heard me coming the whole way. And I kind of, I start waving my tracking poles, like, hey bear, just like that, it's a black bear, I've seen, dozens of them, hey bear, and the thing comes running at me full speed, 35 miles, I'm like, oh, and I stand my ground, because even if I wanted to run, I couldn't, because he was going so fast, no way I could outrun him. So I remember standing there and waving my trekking poles in front of me, just yelling at the top of my lungs, It wasn't a girly yell, which I'm very happy about.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, in a survival situation, I was like, okay, so I got some guttural there. Anyway, the bear comes at me, gets within 6 feet of me, turns back, comes at me again, turns back. At that point, I end up running up the trail, and then I got on Instagram, the last third pass, he kind of makes this half attempt to come.
I wish you got that first charge.
Oh, dude, I wish I got the first charge too.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
anyway, the bears are not friendly out there. I met someone angrier than me.
So why do you get charged by... Why did I not encounter bears? Was it fish? Are you eating too much fish?
I don't know, because I was yelling the whole time. Like, this bear, like, heard me coming, and instead he's like, I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to run at this guy. Like, I'm angrier than this guy. This bear's having a worse day than I am. I mean, he lives out there. I'm just walking through.
Because every animal I saw, it just totally ran away from me. Yeah. Even the bears I saw, they just totally ran away from me. All right, so you get...
I wish.
So you get... I really can't remember almost, but you get to Kelly Creek.
I get to Kelly Creek.
Kelly Creek.
I catch fish. I had a nice fish dinner. That is catch or release only, so don't eat the fish there. I found that out after. If there's a warden listening, I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know.
You get to Kelly Creek. You took a ridgeline.
You took the ridgeline. I took the alternate.
You took the alternate. I followed the creek, and then I took the Bruin Mountain or whatever it was called.
You bushwhacked up to Fish Lake.
Bushwhacked up to Fish Lake, yeah.
And honestly, what you should do, you should take the alternate, because the alternate that I took for, like, it's only 2 miles up the road, and then you skip this entire bushwhack, and then there's a 4x4 trail up to Fish Lake from there. Right. And then you would just be able to get to the ridgeline again without any bushwhacking.
Right. But that you have to go down Kelly Creek.
You have to go down Kelly Creek.
And then you kind of go almost to Montana.
Yep.
You might actually get on the border right then and then get to Fish Lake. Mm-hmm. I went up I went up an abandoned trail because...
Yeah. But then you were on the state line trail for 2 extra days.
I was.
My alternate, yeah.
So that bushwhack was pretty bad, but at that point you're so used to bushwhacking that you kind of think...
Is Windy Creek... Did we skip Windy Creek?
We skipped Windy Creek.
How did we skip Windy Creek?
I don't know, but that is
that's right after
one.
Wilderness Gateway.
That is a Marble Creek, I feel like. That is a day after Wilderness Gateway.
I've never been so cold in my life.
So I feel like Windy Creek was I entered Windy Creek the day I started from Wilderness Gateway, right?
Yeah. Because I did a little half day hike.
I can't believe I forgot Windy Creek.
Windy Creek's right after Wilderness Gateway.
That is one of the crux of the ICT is Windy Creek.
It is. You follow a creek the whole way, and it's so overgrown. And there is a trail, which is the worst part, because there's a foot trail.
I don't know if you can call it a trail. It is a foot trail.
But there's nothing else cleared.
I remember.
So your feet are the only things that can move.
Right. Yeah, I remember there was times when I would lose the trail, but then I thought, okay, I'm just going to hike up this steep mountain, and then you would see a little tread.
Yeah.
But about like this wide or something like that.
And it was just bushes, and I got there. It hadn't rained for a day at this point, and it was so cold and wet because there was so much brush.
Yeah.
I was so cold.
It rained on me the whole time during
It's about a 20-mile hike, right? Just bushwhacking.
It took me 2 days to get through because I did the first half, I would say the first day, and then I slept in Windy Creek, which was like...
slept there.
It's pretty, Slept in Windy Creek and then got done with Windy Creek.
There's a lot of beavers again.
Oh, man.
Of course. Yeah, Windy Creek sucks.
Oh, Windy Creek. The thing is so funny.
Windy Creek.
I don't know what it's called.
It's spelled,
right.
More.
But I remember Clay, before the website broke down.
Yeah.
Before the website broke down, Clay would write these descriptions, and I think he's an English major, so his descriptions were pretty good.
Yeah.
But he would undermine the intensity of the whole experience, I would say.
He'd be like, it's pretty hard, but that's pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Basically.
Windy Creek was really intense.
Windy Creek, but after what you've been through, there's no way you're stopping. You're just going to keep going.
You keep going.
And you just had a 0 day under your belt, so, yeah.
All right, so after Windy Creek, that's when you...
Right, then we get to State Line Trail.
Well, then you get to Kelly Creek, and then you get to the State Line Trail after Fish Lake. So the State Line Trail...
And this is all part of that 167 miles without resupply.
Right.
So you're carrying 8 days of food.
Right. Yeah. I would say my experience on the State Line Trail was pretty positive for the most part, but my feet, I had plantar fasciitis, so I didn't really probably get to enjoy that part of the trail as much as other people.
Oh, it's a beautiful part of the trail.
It's a beautiful part of the trail. You're basically on a ridgeline the whole way. I was on the ridgeline for 2 days. You weren't because you took an alternate.
I took an alternate. Yeah.
I would say there were some parts where I had to bushwhack. Because
I believe it.
I couldn't find the trail. There was too much snow or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the alternate, it's an alternate in the sense that it's lower in elevation. And so after Rattlesnake Ridge, I didn't want to hit snow for a while. I think it might have even Fish Lake. I was just so scarred by snow. I was so cold. I was sick of being cold. So the alternate was really nice at first. There were some nice trails, some 4x4 roads. And it was this gorgeous, lush green. It was like Pacific Northwest. It was kind of warm, just really beautiful mountains. Everything was pretty. Like, there's no development. And then the trail just ends. And then the ultra just ends. And I'm like, what's going to go on? So I ended up bushwhacking. It was like a 3 or 5 mile bushwhack. No, it was a 3 mile bushwhack. It would be 5 hours to get up to the ridge.
Oh, yeah.
It was the worst. It's not even, if you go to, I don't even have that alternate on my map that I made. Like, no way am I letting anybody hike that.
All right, so if people want maps, they can go to your website.
They can go to the website, wildwesttrail.co, yeah.
But you have to get to about an hour of this podcast to be able to hear that you can download that.
So if you've gotten this far, like you probably will buy one.
You probably are very dedicated and want to do this. All right. So anyway, after the State Line Trail, it follows ridge lines and
it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
St. Joe Lake is gorgeous.
Sometimes there's snow. There's
a lot of snow.
There's a lot of snow,
which is good because there's no water. So you hit it early enough, you can boil snow.
Hey. Oh, you're good.
Oh no.
All right, so we're traveling the State Line Trail. There is some snow patches. The one area, no water, but I had plenty of water.
I had plenty of water. If you hit it at the time that we're telling you to hike, there's probably going to be some snow.
Might want to come closer. Trying to think. Okay, yeah, that's good. So you had trouble at St. Joe Lake.
I had a lot of trouble there. Yeah.
I didn't have any trouble because I crossed it later in the day when I could grip my feet in the snow a little bit more. If you have crampons, you don't have any trouble.
Right. If you want to carry crampons and 8 days of food, that might be a good idea though. That might be a good idea.
Actually might be a good idea if you're crossing at the same time we did.
Yep.
All right, so you get past that, you get to a road. And that road, I kind of calculated, it's about 40 miles or 50 miles of road. I mean, it's a long time.
It's a nice dirt road. Yeah, 4x4 road, so there's no traffic, but
that almost goes all the way to
Wallace.
To Mullen.
To Mullen. Yeah.
Anyway,
that's actually then you start to laugh at how nice the hike is because you're walking this wide road, you're not bushwhacking. You can see into western Montana, you can see into the panhandles, there's gorgeous views. Right. And the trail starts to get fun. At that point, it starts to get fun.
So then you get to Mullen, and then after Mullen, I don't really remember this part.
There's some lakes. It's nice.
Right. It's just like kind of nice, mellow stuff.
Yeah. There's a little bit of bushwhacking, but there's enough people that live up there, so the trails get used.
All right, and then then that part ends at Clark Fork.
Yeah.
Clark Fork, I thought was a nice town.
Great town. Good post office. Good resupply.
Right. From Clark Fork, did you take that alternate?
I did.
You did. That was a long alternate.
Viggo Mortensen, the guy from Lord of the Rings. Okay. Viggo, he bought land that the original ICT used to go through, which went right outside of Clark Fork back into the mountains. And he's since not allowed hikers to use his land anymore.
So the alternate I took was a lot of road walking.
Yeah, but the only benefit of the road walk, it's busy, it's kind of loud. You do get to Lake Pend Oreille.
That's true. Yeah.
And I actually fished Lake Pend Oreille for the whole afternoon.
But if you did not go to the alternate, we probably would have saved 3 hours.
Right? The alternate is terrible. It's a terrible alternate. Right. It goes through mosquito-infested swamps, and there's still no trespassing signs. I don't know, but we're fine. We made it.
So once you're done with the alternate, then you go up a steep mountain.
I think that's Lightning Creek when we start going up there.
It is.
I remember that. Okay. Lightning or Thunder? It's Lightning, right?
I don't remember the name, but I remember crossing a creek right there.
It's Lightning or Thunder.
So you go up a big ridge line. The ridge line.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. I would say that I was kind of scared that there would be more bushwhacking, but there wasn't. It wasn't.
There's some beautiful. You get into the Selkirk Mountains by that point, and I think the Yak? The Yak Mountains that you're looking at?
I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like British Columbia up there. It's amazing. It basically is British Columbia.
And you kind of get on these mountaintops, and you stay on the mountaintops, and you have these.
You do these like S turns, but you're on the ridge the whole way.
You're on the ridge the whole way, and you get these views of Lake Pend Oreille.
Beautiful.
I think by that time I was you're close to being done.
Yeah.
With the whole ICT, and so I don't think I really took in all the beauty. I was just saying, let's get this whole thing done with.
Yeah, but I'm still waiting for bushwhacking.
I'm still waiting for bushwhacking. That's what I was going to say. In my head, I was waiting for bushwhacking, so I was kind of nervous the whole time. What is coming? If I had known, nothing really is coming.
Nothing's coming after Lake Pend Oreille.
Kind of. You had some bushwhacking. I didn't.
Yeah. There's one more stretch of bushwhack.
All right, so you go through that and you get to Naples. Naples is a really small town.
I didn't go to Naples. I went to Lake MacArthur.
Huh.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, like that road right there, like the road to Bonner's Ferry, right?
Right. But you did not stop at Naples? Naples is right on the trail. Naples. I had another resupply at Naples.
What?
Yeah.
No, because I had to get to Coolin, which is on the other side of the Selkirks. So I got down.
No. You're ahead of me.
I'm ahead of you.
Yeah, Coolin is right by Priest Lake. We're talking way before. You're not talking about the Selkirks.
No. But I'm talking about MacArthur Lake. Remember MacArthur Lake? No. You took a different route than me.
Hold on. No. So you go from Clark Fork,
right?
And you have those like ridge lines. I don't think you're in the Selkirks yet.
No, you're like you can see the Selkirks. They're called something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you drop down into.
Do you remember crossing the train tracks? Did you have to cross train tracks?
In Naples.
That's Naples with a train?
Yes.
Oh, that is a town. Yeah, there was a roadwalk there.
Did you go into the store?
No. Nope. I went to Lake MacArthur.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, there's a resupply there. Huh.
I did take an alternate to Naples. Right. I skipped. It was anyway.
Yeah, I think Naples is farther north than Lake MacArthur by like a mile or two.
Okay, we'll have to look at the map and I'll see where you went. Okay. So after Naples, we'll just say Naples.
Yep.
You went up to bushwhacked.
I bushwhacked. You had to bushwhack.
Then White Mountain or something like that.
Yeah, those are like foothills of the Selkirks. Yeah,
they're the foothills of the Selkirks. You bushwhacked. There are roads that we took. Mm-hmm. They're not Forest Service roads. I don't think. I think they were logging roads.
Yeah, I think so.
Basically, I had roads the entire time.
Yeah, the bushwhack. That's the last big bushwhack of the hike. Mm-hmm. But once you get to the top. It's beautiful views of Lake Ponderay again, and there's trails once you get to the top.
And then you do, and so you're taking a lot of roads at that point, and then you get to another trail.
When we say roads, we mean like logging roads.
Logging roads, yeah.
Because I went through a logging operation. Remember that?
And then you get to, you get on to another trail, and then you go to Fault Lake, which is right below.
That's the Selkirks now.
Yes,
now you're in the Selkirks.
Yes, you're in the Selkirks.
There's grizzly bears. There's bear boxes. There's bear box at Fault Lake, so you can camp there, which I didn't know. I would have if I knew.
That's true. Right. It's a very pretty lake. I would say I really liked that part of the hike.
Yeah,
Fault Lake.
Selkirks are amazing.
They are amazing.
Yeah, they are amazing.
And then you get to Hunt Lake. Mm-hmm. You get to that pass, and
that's the last bushwhack of the ICT.
This is the last bushwhack of the ICT. You do have to bushwhack to the saddle of Hunt Lake.
Right. You're bushwhacking up the saddle and down the saddle.
Because the trail ends at Fault Lake. And so instead of just... There's a couple ways you can get there. I went around. I don't think the bushwhack was that bad.
It's not that bad.
No.
It's some scree.
Yeah. But then I would say from the saddle right by Hunt Lake going down, that is where you can get into trouble. If you went hikers... Going down, if you went hikers left, cliffs out completely. Mm-hmm. So you kind of have to go straight in the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Right.
Straight down.
But it's pretty steep, that whole part.
Yeah, and there's boulder fields. There was snow when I did it. There was snow.
There was snow up top, but going down...
It was sketchy snow, though, because sometimes you post hole, but you're post hole in snow, and then your ankle's going between boulders.
In the boulders.
So you don't want to have any momentum going, or else your leg is not, it's going to break in half. It was sketchy. I don't remember.
That was a sketchy part for us. But then I remember, you are traversing when you get down that sketchy part from the saddle, you are traversing boulders for quite a while.
A lot of cutthroat in that lake, though.
Oh, okay.
A lot of cutthroat.
Nice.
I caught quite a few. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So after that, then it does meet up with a road.
Right, and I went into Coolin, Idaho, which is a hitch of a few miles, and it's a tourist town, so a lot of people from like Spokane and stuff go there, and. It was hard to get a hitch there. Yeah, it was very hard because there weren't a lot of local people, and so I went to Coolin. It was July 4th. I got a beer, I got a burger.
So Coolin is at the south end of Priest Lake.
Yep.
Right. So from Hunt Lake, you have to travel roads all the way down to Priest Lake. Very easy hiking. Very easy hiking. Roads, Forest Service roads.
The whole way, and then it's paved.
But then, once you get to Priest Lake, it's a paved road all the
20
way.
20 miles almost.
Yeah. A very long time. I thought it was a very boring stretch.
They should really move the trail, keep it in the Selkirks until Upper Priest.
That'd be awesome.
And then drop down. Yeah, that'd be the way to go.
But it's kind of relieving because you're thinking, well, we went through this.
Yeah. This is 20 miles of asphalt. Yeah.
Anyway, so you get to Upper Priest Lake.
Really a gem of the whole state.
Really nice place.
Yeah.
Really like that lake.
Grizzly boxes, though.
And you after Upper Priest Lake, you encountered a bear on that road before Upper Priest Falls Trailhead,
right? Before Upper Priest Falls Trailhead, yeah.
Right.
That was on my way back, but yeah, it was that road.
So was it chasing you? Was it kind of following you? It was like kind of a curious bear, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I was so... Well, we finished the hike, right? We go to Upper Priest Falls.
You go to Upper Priest Falls, and then that is when...
It cliffs out, and then you see these beautiful waterfalls.
Well, I mean, you get... from Upper Priest Lake, you travel, and then you get on dirt roads.
Yep.
And then there's a trailhead for Upper Priest Falls.
And it goes through old-growth cedar groves the whole time.
Yep, and then you travel that for about, I think, 11 miles or so. And then you get to Upper Priest Falls, and that is the end of the Idaho Centennial Trail. Mm. And I thought the end was a little bit underwhelming because there's not some monument. Right. I guess there's
a waterfall though, which is nice.
There's a waterfall. But also too, it was kind of, I don't know. I had mixed feelings. I was kind of disappointed. But you're 0.5 miles away from the Canadian border.
Right.
I really wanted to touch Canada.
Me too.
But it cliffs out.
There's no way. Yeah, you're getting unless you probably walk that road all the way to Canada.
You could walk the road all the way to Canada. There might be another day.
Yeah, another day.
You could bushwhack, but you risk falling into the river.
No, it cliffs out. Like it's a hard. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it.
Right.
Yeah.
No one's recommended it.
Yeah.
So basically, that is the end of the ICT.
That's it. Upper Priest Falls. Yeah, but when I was going back, because I was still hiking, I wasn't even halfway done yet with my hike at this point.
That's true, because so Joel not only did the ICT, he did the Wild West Trail, which continues on from there.
And the Pacific Northwest Trail follows the ICT for a little bit in that section.
Right.
So I jumped on the PNT, went east, but that's where the grizzly bear, I had to come into camp the next morning. And the mosquitoes were so thick that I was cooking and I couldn't eat. Like, I couldn't eat because of the mosquitoes. So I ended up eating inside my tent just so I could have food. And of course, that next morning, as a grizzly bear comes rustling around camp, and I end up scaring it off. And then I didn't see it at this point. I thought it was just a black bear. And then I pack up. I'm going down the road, like less than half a mile down. It just walks out in front of me. Big grizzly.
It wasn't like a baby grizzly?
No, it was about, I would say, 2 years old. Juvenile, but it's like a big one. You could tell it was a grizzly because its shoulders are so big.
Ooh.
The little ears, and it's this pointed face. It was like, grizzly bear.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. I hope you glean some motivation or some information about the Idaho Centennial Trail.
You should hike it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Less than 12 people have ever done it. 12 to 14, we're thinking.
Thru-hiked it.
Thru-hike.
There's more people who have section hiked it, but I would say the whole list comprises, with people who have section hiked it and who have thru-hiked it, it's around like 25 or something, like less than 25.
Yeah, less than 25 definitely. We have a list here with 24 names on it.
No, there's less. There's like 21 names on it.
Right.
We have 21 names on it that we know so far. There might be some other people.
So you can if you want to do it, this trail.
This trail has opportunities.
Make it your own.
Yeah, you can definitely make it your own. I would say, honestly, through hiking, we are like, I might have been the 12th person to through hike. Mm-hmm. He was the 11th person. Mm-hmm. So it's exciting for the taking.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Well, Joel, thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, that was good.
That was really long.
Hour and a half?
That was like